Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Nathanias here, bringing you game number 1 of the Acer Teamstory Cup between Root Gaming and Millennium. So this is going to be game number 1, of course. Had a bit of stream internet issues. It was a very large lightning storm, so I had to cast these replays offline. My internet connection wasn't stable enough to do the live streams. Hopefully you guys enjoy these games. Actually wasn't on for game number 1 either way, so hopefully we have a great game here. Let's just introduce these players. Spawning in the bottom right position as our blue Protoss player coming in for Root Gaming, it is going to be Succeed. And spawning in the bottom left position as our red Terran player coming out for Millennium, it is M.Dayshi. So, guys, we're going to have a nice little Heart of the Swarm TvP on the map that is Newkirk's Precinct. Been a lot of names to this map. There's actually a new Kespa map, which has a big grassy knoll here for units to traverse along. But a little bit more to the action. Let's see what these players want to do so far. Nothing crazy unusual, no crazy proxy builds. We have both players opening up rather normally. We'll have to see whether or not M.Dayshi wants to open with gas, though. Has become quite popular in the Terran versus Protoss metagame to go for such things. So, if you guys not too familiar with me, I'm cast for Quantic Gaming, and I really appreciate you guys coming in here, checking out these tournament games. I cast lots of other games on this channel, so definitely thanks for stopping by. And hopefully you guys enjoy this whole series. I'm putting all the games up for this matchup, so definitely don't miss out. Now, we do have a gas on 15 supply for M.Dayshi, so this is going to be one of those gas expands. Could be the Widowmine expand. Usually make 2 Marines, then you get a reactor using the gas, and then transpire into an expansion, and then go for a factory play. Possibly try to throw up a little bit of harass with Widowmines or Medevac, but we'll have to see what exactly he wants to do. Cybernetics Core is coming in now for Succeed. He's going to go for a second gas, so we could see him actually try to go for a bit of a proxy. He does have this probe leaving the map now, so it looks like he could try to hide this. It's actually being sent to zip around towards the top area, over to the third, and actually kind of find its way to a little bit of an interesting roundabout place. So he's going to be checking for proxies, or he could be going to proxy himself. Now, it's not, of course, 100% clear just yet, but M.Dayshi's going to send his SCV scout out, and, well, that reactor is on the way. Looks like there was a little bit of a pause in this game. And there's the Nexus for Succeed. So he was just looking for proxies, making sure he wasn't going to be in any amount of danger, as it were. So expansion is going up Nexus. And Mothership Core is coming out as well for Succeed. So interestingly enough, it doesn't look like we have Warp Gate started yet. So he wants to get this really fast Mothership Core, this really fast Stalker, to put on a little bit of pressure, possibly for defensive purposes. But without the Zealot, defense doesn't seem to be the largest thing on his mind. Now, we do have the command center coming out for M.Dayshi, as well as the factories. So he's looking like he's going to be set up to go for a bit of an expansion 2-base play we could see out of him. And this factory is basically going to allow him to go for the starport. He could get Widowmines for defense. He could use the Widowmines in a drop, perhaps, typically speaking. It's just kind of been this standard here ever since MMA busted it out in the GSTL preseason, but now Succeeds, and Mothership Core is coming over. He'll be able to scout, and this Stalker trying to deny M.Dayshi's SCV any vision, but he does know about the expansion. He does not know what exactly is in this main base, but well, Succeed's going to get a Stargate now, which is pretty interesting, and the Mothership Core is going to scout out everything that's inside of M.Dayshi's main, sees the starport, sees the factory, recognizes, okay, well, your starport and factory aren't crazy early, which means this has to be one of those expand type builds, and that's basically what it is. It's going to be the Widowmine expand. We have the mine coming out, just Marines now. Second gas geyser, and a forge coming in for Succeed. So he's going to be going a bit into his upgrades before he switches into anything like robotics facility, which is pretty interesting. I mean, going for the 2-base Stargate, you don't really get that jump on your opponent with the harassing oracles, but it can also make your opponent be a little bit, how should I say, not as prepared for it because it didn't come at the regular timing. So Mothership Core is in position to defend now. Zealot moving down the ramp. We've got a solid little bit of defense here for Succeed. He's going to bust down these rocks at the worst possible time. The Marines are going to step forward. He might actually lose this Stalker. Succeed in a bit of trouble here. Will activate the Photon Overcharge to get rid of these Marines. So burning that energy on his Mothership Core to be safe. And yeah, that's one of those times, man. Those rocks can kill sometimes. But Command Center has landed for Dayshi. We do have medevacs coming out now. He's got his first one on the way. Now the mines are being moved forward. He's going to add on 2 additional barracks, very standard follow-up, and tech labs on the starport and the factory. This way he'll be able to immediately move into stim and combat shield. And it's a bit later than normal, but this first Oracle is coming out, and well, it's going to be heading over into the main base of Dayshi. Going to try to pick off a couple of these SCVs. He's going to immediately start running them away. He's actually only killed 1. So, damn. Now, there is this mine here. He's got a little bit of a frontal setup here. There's no robotics facility yet, so he can't spot this. He has the cannons by the main base, but the Oracle's getting in now, finally getting some kills, up to 4, 5 kills, 6 kills in this Oracle, 7, 8. Oh, he barely doesn't get that 8th kill. So he's done a lot of damage. He's forced these SCVs to miss out a lot of mining time, and now the forces for Dayshi are going to push him to the natural. And well, there's not enough energy to use another photon overcharge because he used it earlier. So the Marines, they just waited for the photon overcharge to end, and that cannon will go down as well, which means he can bring these Widow Mines farther forward. And it looks like Dayshi is doing crippling amounts of damage to Succeed. Succeed does get a probe surround on the Marines, but of course he can always just lift up. There's another Oracle out, which will do a lot of damage to these Marines. He's kind of deciding how ballsy he wants to be, almost triggering that Widow Mine on that Stalker. So he's just going to run away, trying to bait him basically at this point. He's dropping the Marines outside of the natural expansion, but Succeed doesn't have too much. He's got no follow-up tech really set up. The robotics facility is just now coming in. Both mines are off of their cooldown, so Succeed would like to trigger the mines with a probe so that he can possibly even do a little bit more damage, but no such window has opened yet for him. So the Marines are stepping forward, doing a couple of pokes. We're going to see him kill maybe a couple more probes here, and this is just so much damage that Succeed's been able to do. And at the meantime, back home, he's got his standard follow-up going. He's got his stim pack on the way. He needs to move into a bit more medevac production, I feel, but it's not a huge deal. The Widow Mine will at least be able to kill a Zealot before it dies. Of course, guys, the Oracles do now have that ability that allows them to detect. So he's activated his Envision ability, or his Revelation, so that he can see the burrowed mines. He's going to move into a robotics bay now that the facility has finished. We're going to see the first observer on this field, which also means really delayed scouting. So a Viking is going to come out to try to push a possible Mothership Core Oracle away, and well, he is moving up with this Oracle, so he's going to have a pretty solid opportunity to do some damage here if this Viking does not catch him. There's no missile turret. There is a mine, however, so should be a pretty reasonable defense. And at this point, he's just adding on an engineering bay. Finally, he's going to have really late upgrades this game, and he's also adding on 2 additional barracks. So no reactor on this starport yet means no real medevac production, but he's done a lot of damage so far, and he throws down that Revelation on a lot of these forces. So he's actually going to get himself a really nice position here to be able to spot everything that could possibly come towards him off of these units. And oh no, the Oracle does get caught. Succeed will lose that in the natural expansion of Dayshi. So a really, really nice play there. And well, Succeed, he's bringing that Oracle back. He's starting his Colossus production. Doesn't have too many upgrades though, which is going to hurt him. He's just at his 1-1 now, it looks like, just about to finish up. Although I will say, the upgrades are so late for Dayshi, that doesn't even matter. He's still ahead, and also keep in mind, thanks to that Oracle's Envision ability, he knows where a good chunk of these units are. He has the vision of a couple of them, so not bad at all. I don't remember if they still have the, there used to be in a beta, when you use the Envision on a unit or a building, you could actually see what it was producing. So, of course, in TvP, nothing really crazy going to be produced, but it does look like Dayshi wants to move out now onto the field, so could be trying to do a bit of damage here. The Observer, though, spots everything. Now we have the Zealot at the tower going to get poked away by this Reaper. And there's only 2 medevacs, but he has a pretty solid army size, but with the first Colossus on the field, he can deny a 3rd base for a little while. He can keep Succeed kind of turtly, and just kind of hold him into a bit of a strangling position. But, ooh, loses a Stalker there, caught off guard by this Marine Marauder force. Throws on the forward scan, but doesn't see the Observer on his army. He's going to load up for a drop, but Stalkers are prepared. Marines are going to stem on the low ground and try to pick these Stalkers off, and he's going to just try to drop right on top of them. We'll lose a lot of Marines in that medevac, but the second one will be able to unload, and these forces stimming, trying to take out at least a pylon. He actually doesn't have enough cargo space. It's like we can't take everyone. These 3 Marines are left behind to die horrible painful deaths. Trying to run, making a break for it, but in vain their efforts are. So I like this Oracle kind of patrolling. He can see anything that comes by. Of course, he can throw an Envision on it if he needs to, but the Observer sees everything else that's trickling along the field for Dayshi. So Succeed needs to be careful. He can try to take a third base now, but if he overextends himself at all, a drop into the main base could be disastrous. Factory does see pretty much everything going on the left side, so he knows there's nothing there to protect, but a good time warp, slowing this bio down. Not picking off that Viking, though. He's not focusing it down. The Marine Marauder Force is going to chew away all of the Zealots. He doesn't want to fight inside of the time warp, of course, really slowing down that movement speed, but he chewed away a lot of the buffer units for Succeed. However, he was able to keep the Colossus. He was able to keep all of his Colossi safe. He now has the third Colossus. He's getting his +2 armor, getting that Colossi range. He's getting charged, so he's looking in like he's going to go for a really solid mid-game. However, we do have a lot of Viking production now coming out for Dayshi. He has another 4 Vikings coming out. He has 2 more being produced right now, so he's going to be in a pretty reasonable position to put some aggression towards these Colossi. He still has his original Viking from that previous fight, and that extra bit of DPS could sometimes be the deal breaker, but now Succeed trying to get that third base on the right side, so he doesn't want to be as vulnerable to drops, but defending this base will cause him to be a bit more spread out. So Dayshi can stem a Marine over there to try to spot this, and that's exactly what he's going to do. This Marine for Dayshi should be able to see pretty much everything, and he knows now about this Nexus that's being produced. The factory, he can actually see if anything's being produced off the starport, which is kind of nice. But the Observer still sees everything moving out. He knows there's a definite threat of aggression, and if he moves too far away, his army is coming up to deal with this Marine. He needs to be careful. This Scouting Zealot, though, will see all of Dayshi's army. He knows it's not as much of a threat right now. And it looks like he could be trying to put on some pressure. He could be trying to go in and deal a killing blow. There's a lot of Colossi, but the Viking count has increased in turn. He's only at 7 Vikings. And I remember, guys, at 8 Vikings, 2-shotting Colossi begins. So now he's moving in. He's sitting forward. He's gotten off a couple of hits with these Marauders. The Colossi taking some hits. First Colossus is down. Second one looks like it's going to follow in turn, and it's barely low on health. He does kill it. So that's just 1 Colossus. 2 Vikings, 3 still remain, trying to pick off these Vikings, bringing in the Zealots from the side, but is it going to be enough? It doesn't look like it. All of the Colossi are dead. He's stepping forward with the Marines, with the Marauders. The Zealot buffer is gone. It's just Stalkers versus Marauders. However, he's stimmed himself so low, it's going to be difficult, but it looks like he is going to be able to take this fight right here, just continuing to pummel away at these gateway units. And it's just really favoring Dayshi right now. He's got a lot of production going on back at home, just trying to force his hand here. A lot more units prepared at the center of the tower. Had it on some additional barracks, not producing out of them just yet, but he has such a nice advantage in terms of his production and economy. Now, the third Nexus is complete, but there's only 2 probes here. Upgrades are slightly favoring Succeed. We do not have an armory just yet. It's on the way for Dayshi, but is it going to be in time is the really important question. So now Dayshi is going to step forward. He may try to just shut down this third base. He's actually building a bunker outside for a bit of contain. These probes trying to run over to go mine. Dayshi doesn't like this. He's heading over now towards that third base. We could see another engagement here. The Marines Marauders approaching now, and he's got all these probes isolated. He can kill this Nexus. There's not too much that Succeed can do. He's going to move forward. He has some Templar out. He does have a Psionic Storm very soon, but it's not done just yet. So engaging this spy will be very difficult. He's killed the third Nexus off. These probes are going to be almost basically forfeit. I'm seeing a lot of damage. He's going to kill off a good chunk of these, but it looks like we could have a fight right here. He's bringing the Templar forward. He's bringing the charge lots forward, but no such engagement just yet. And Dayshi is just going to retreat for now. So third Nexus is going to begin again. He's going to take the closer pocket expansion, basically. Trying to take a base that he'll be able to hold on to a bit more carefully. But 2-2 on the way for Dayshi. Cloak. He has Ghost production beginning. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage to these High Templars. So he needs to be very careful. Succeed, that is, in terms of taking these engagement, because he can't really afford to move back into Colossi until he has that third base up and running. He's added on 3 Archons, which are going to be great tanky units. But when it comes to the army composition for Dayshi, he hasn't actually built any Ghosts yet. He has the infrastructure, but in terms of upgrades, there's no Mobius Reactor either, so those Ghosts will not come out with an EMP. He's going for a super fast cloak, but thankfully, Succeed does have some observers with his force. It's going to be a bit tricky. Marines sent sprinting forward to scout. Third Nexus will complete soon, and Dayshi is maxed. This is a really good opportunity for him to try to go make something happen. He has the Vikings, and with good micro, the Storms won't be able to do really much of anything. So it's all going to come down to how Dayshi wants to approach this battle, guys. 2-2 is halfway done. He may just want to wait for 2-2 and just guarantee himself a win in this fight because currently Succeed is at an upgraded range. He has the +2 armor, so he's going to be a bit more tanky, but the more time at this point that Succeed gets, the better chance he has of creating a cost-effective enough army that he can kill Dayshi's army and then kill another one, basically. Of course, as Protoss, your goal would be to shut down the production so you win one fight and then just kill the Terran before they can actually make another army since they don't have Warp in. But Succeed's got a pretty reasonable chunk of units. Moving on towards the center of the field, though, there are ghosts here. Dayshi looking very strong. Interestingly enough, Dayshi just choosing not to attack. Perhaps he wants to just secure his 4th base, make sure he's going to keep it, but now it looks like Dayshi wants to move in versus this force. The Ghost coming in here, getting some EMPs, misses the High Templar, but gets a nice snipe off. He's going to continue to step forward. EMPs blanket all these Zealots. The Vikings are going to destroy the Colossi. The Marines start stepping back and forth to dodge these Zealots, and well, there's the G game number 1. It does go to Millennium's Dayshi, so really solid TvP there, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that game. I'm going to bring the rest of the games in this series, and if you like this cast, please subscribe. Thanks. Nathanias, signing out.